Before we open the agenda today, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the respectful Secretary of International Undergraduate Program in Industrial Engineering, Mrs. Ira Promasanti Rahmadewi, Master of Engineering. The respectful speakers, Mr. Bronson Wijaya, MPM, PMP. The respectful speaker, Mr. Arif Prasetyo, PMP, PMI, RMP. And the respectful speaker, Mr. Jerry Samosir, PMP, PMI, RMP, and PMI, ACP. And all participants in today's event who has registered and entered this room. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. In this event, you will have webinar view, which only allows you to send chat, raise hand, and question and answer panel. Please use the features properly. Ladies and gentlemen, to initiate this morning agenda, let us recite Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Before we open this general lecture, let me introduce myself. My name is Putri Amalia, as the Master of Ceremony in the Project Management General Lecture held by Department of Industrial Engineering International Program, Faculty of Industrial Technology, Universitas Islam Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, to follow along this event pleasantly, let me mention today's agenda. The first and current agenda is opening, followed with the opening speech by the Secretary of International Undergraduate Program in Industrial Engineering. The third one is the main agenda, the Project Management General Lecture by the respectful speakers, and followed by a question and answer session, and closing. Thank you for all participants who have joined the opening session. Moving to the next agenda, we will have the opening speech by the respectful Secretary of International Undergraduate Program in Industrial Engineering, Mrs. Ira Promasanti Rahmadewi, Master of Engineering. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain amma ba'd. Thank you very much for your joining to this program, this general lecture. Actually, international programs has several webinar series. Actually, it is called IPIEUII Talk. Yeah. We are trying to share our knowledge with you, and for today, especially for project management. Yeah. Actually, project management is really required to all organizations, but unfortunately, not many people understand how the implementations of project management in various fields. So why this event is conducted by IP to introduce you how important project management, yeah, and also we are going to urge you to have how certification, yeah, in project management will expose your professional skills, yeah. So everybody aware that you have talent in project management. So try to use this opportunity to explore how project management will boost your career development. Thank you very much. Hopefully it will be beneficial for all of you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mrs. Ira, for the warm greetings. And the next session will be accompanied by our experienced moderator. But before I pass this session to the moderator, let me introduce her to all the participants here. Today's moderator has accomplished her undergraduate degree of Industrial Engineering in Universitas Islam Indonesia and her postgraduate degree of Industrial Engineering in Universitas Gadjah Mada. Now, she is one of the project management lecturer in Universitas Islam Indonesia. Please welcome Mrs. Suci Miranda, Master of Science. Time is yours.
Thank you, Putri, for a wonderful introduction. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, small colleagues, beloved students, I'm Suci Miranda. I'm going to be the moderator for today's session. But before we go to the seminar or the webinar, I'd like to share a bit a short poll. I'd like all of the participants to give the answer for the short questions, 4 questions. Mas Dwi, if you don't mind, please. We'd like to know more about your knowledge in terms of project management. So we've got 4 short questions. If you don't mind, would you please answer this poll first? What year are you studying now if you are a student? But I do believe some of you in the attendees are not students. I saw some names that are familiar with me. For me, Mas Theo, my colleagues, Mbak Riri from Pekanbaru, she's also my colleagues. Okay. Do you have any aspiration about the industry of your future career, and how relevant do you think is the CAPM for your future career? Have you been involved in a project? Okay. We'll wait for about 1 minute more. Okay. Mas Dwi has finished? Okay. Yeah, we should please show the, yeah. This is the polling. What year are you studying now? Most of you are in the 3rd year, or probably in the 6th or 5th semester. Do you have any aspiration about the industry of your future career? Okay, engineering, manufacturing, construction. I don't know yet. Okay, well, probably you are still in the 1st grade, so you are still searching which one is suitable for you. Have you relevant? Do you think CAPM relevant? Okay. Have you been involved in project? Yes, I have. Okay. So from this poll, I will continue to the webinar. Okay, let me close it first. Okay, we've got 3 speakers for today. For the first speaker, this is Mas Bronson. I called him Mas Bronson Wijaya. Let me share a bit about his CV. Okay, yeah. Okay, Bronson Wijaya. Sorry. He has experienced 17 years of various projects from industrial to residential project service. Graduate from University of Indonesia in 2004. Professional activity starting from 2003 as civil engineering. So his expertise in construction company, engaging in volunteering activities as an active mentor for Project Management Institute Indonesia chapter since 2017. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Now he is the project director of PT Eksakta Pranata Engineering in accordance with company strategies, goals, and objectives. So not to overdue, let me pass the screen to Mr. Bronson, or I can call him Mas Bronson. Hello, Mas Bronson. How are you today?
Very good, Bu Suci. So far, so good.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Mas Bronson, the screen is yours, please.
Okay. Thank you. So thank you everybody for coming to the webinar and letting me to share a bit about my experience, as well as to share about what is CAPM and PMP in general. So what I'm going to share is about the CAPM, Certified Associate in Project Management, and Project Management Professional Certification, and basically is an international knowledge certification or credential. And I will share a bit about my experience in construction, the need of the project management in construction, as well as some of example of the credential in local and how to relate it to the international CAPM and PMP. Before we come to that, let me share what is CAPM and PMP. So basically, CAPM and PMP is 2 of the product of all certification or credential in project management issued by Project Management Institute. It's a trademark for the Project Management Institute. Project Management Institute itself, having a headquarter in USA, founded in 1969, is a non-profit professional membership association in project management profession. For me, Mas Arif and Mas Jerry later is a member of the Project Management Institute Indonesian chapter. So the CAPM and PMP itself is acknowledged usually become a first preference when they are looking for a project management, trying to have that know the standard about project management in America. But for in Africa, Middle East, and Asia, it is one of the acknowledged credential PMP along with two other uh, credential or certification, including in Indonesia. So for little bit information, in Indonesia, we only have around 900 something PMP credential holder, and so the chances to have acknowledgements is wider than or in other countries as well. So it's better to have it right now. Now, so when I continue about that again. PMI is in from America. We have two credential CFM, so to remind, a certified associate in project management and project management professional that knowledge in the worldwide. Yeah. So from this slide, we try to express, or we try to inform that by having the CAPM or PMP credential, basically a person can have an acknowledgement or have a chances to go abroad or having a career abroad rather than only in Indonesia. That's one of the benefits we try to say. Okay, but if I see in the poll, some of most of not of almost 50% of the participant is not yet engaging in project. Maybe this is a bit of misconception because I try to bring it. What is project? So project is something we can define into not three categories, but three definitions. First, the project is always a temporary endeavor or effort. Yeah, it has a beginning, it has an end. Project is always unique. It's always unique means that everything may be different between one project to another project. Even though we have said that we're constructing the same house or the same tank or the same telecommunication tower, the project between two telecommunication tower or two house, it will be unique, having a different result or even the decision process. And project is driven by changes. So every time you want some change to be changes, even though it's only what's that, like a policy in your organization, or you want to add something value to your organization, then you will come a project. You will come to a project. What example of project then? I give you some example that combine between the big one, like a pyramid of Giza, construction of pyramid of Giza. So it is in the ancient world. Preparing your final exam, you have a target, you have a certain duration to study, you expect the result to be good. Preparing an Olympic game event, like completion your thesis, it also is a project. So if I show it all, if you think it again, then all of you must have been engaged in the project. Not only so don't think about the project is only for the big construction, a building, a house, or a tower accommodation, but whenever you try to accomplish something, you have a target, you have a certain duration to accomplish it, then you have a project. You are engaging in a project. So how CAPM and PMP can help you in this what I say in handling a project? PMP and CAPM. CAPM and PMP itself have a reference. We call it a project management body of knowledge. So talking about project management, it's a very wide what I say knowledge area. I mean, we cannot summarize all the project management in one book and try to study it all. But having the project management body of knowledge guide, I mean, it gives you a guide how to handle and giving you some kind of checklist what to do in your project. So back to here is the content of the project management body of knowledge. Actually, it consists of 10 knowledge area that a project manager or someone that included in the project should have knowledge from integration, how to integrate all the knowledge in a project, talking about the scope, talking about the schedule. We are talking about the cost as well. This is usually call it as three baseline. The measurement for the project success. Usually, this is to become the main. Then we have a quality, we have resource, we have communication, risk, procurement, and stakeholder. For each knowledge area, later if you have a CAPM certificate, that means that you at least have the basic knowledge for each of these knowledge area. Later on, if you want to put more detail or become specialist in one of the knowledge, then you can search it and dig it more in various more certificate. For example, in cost we have a AACE, or in risk we have a PMI RMP or QRMP. In procurement we have a supply chains, yeah, and so doesn't mean that when you want to specialize CAPM you can leave it. In contrary, when you have a CAPM, you have a broader wide of your project, a broader view of your project. And when you become a specialist, this broader view will help you to solve the problem. Why I share about this? Part of my experience when I meet a specialist that do not want to know about other field, it usually become a specialist that cannot, cannot cooperate. For example, if I have met someone in safety, when we know safety, for example, is a first priority in our project. But in the end, when we do not know the scope, we do not know the schedule, we do not know about the cost, a safety specialist usually put the do not want to know. They only want to say that stop the work every time there is some problem happen or some safety violation happen. Just stop the work. But when I met someone in safety, for example, that no, although they do not have a CAPM certificate at the moment at the time, but they're willing to know broader view in the project management. Oh, they understand about the cost. What happened if we stop the work? What happened we stop about the scope if we add something that not in project scope of work? Then they will come with a solution that we try to integrate everything. They will come with a solution that try to accommodate the safety without violating the project. That kind of person that personally I say that I want to work with, rather than someone specialist that always only on this specialist. For example, I have another project that one of the project team stopped the work and almost for 6 months because they want it's a confined space. They want the confined space have someone, so the supervisor for the confined space have a certificate for the confined space. In Indonesia, that time only 2% that have a confined space certificate. So it's almost impossible for a project to provide it. And the project almost that activity is delayed for 6 months in the project before we finally come a solution that we make sure everything in plan. We plan everything, so we have all the mitigation for that certain activities. See the difference, yeah, between we know all of this, have a basic knowledge for this, all of this knowledge area compared to the specialists that only know about their field. Now, the same way, when we have this kind of knowledge, people tend because this is internationally acknowledged. People tend to the expatriate tend to put more have attention to us. Okay, but I will tell about that later. So, set in mind first, we have this kind of mindset. We have 10 10 knowledge area that will become will become a basic knowledge for you to ready to come to the work uh, when you come you graduate especially. Okay. Nah, and how this can help you, ladies and gentlemen, when you come to the work, you graduate and you get a work, you have a job, you will gain more knowledge basically. Not only you just doesn't you will not stop learning, but you will continue to learn, you will continue to study, and even more knowledge will come to you, not compared to what you have right now. And all the knowledge will be around this 10 knowledge area. And how the project management, this CAPM, structurize your mindset. I give you some example for the process in determining our scope. How do we validate our scope? You will plan your scope. You will collect your requirement from your stakeholder. You will define your scope. Usually, the one that without the structure mindset, a project manager, they only get their agreement from the customer and pay attention only to deliverable. Okay, we go with the deliverable. And what happened with the project is become chaotic. Why? Some scope is not planned in the beginning, or some scope is not what I say we cannot execute the scope because we do not have any resource, or we do not, because we do not understand about how it is. By having structured mindset, when we already have the agreement, for example, a project manager, or even you are in engineering, or even you are in the safety team, you will try to find what is the process, what have I missed, and so that's the structured mindset that can help you with your job letter. This is a CFM structured mindset. Yeah. And in addition, I will share a bit in my experience in my previous company. In the fourth year, usually in the job, the workforce, in the fourth year, your KPI or key performance index is usually will be shifted from the specialist to a more wide. If you will become a manager, for example, or become a supervisor, because you do not want to only pay attention to your specialty and stuck there for the rest of your life. For example, when I'm in a civil engineer in my second company, my KPI is more than 50% or 60% talking about my technical capability in civil engineering. How can I make a calculation? How can I apply all my standard code? Later, when we talk about in the fourth year, when I'm promoted to become a manager, construction manager at the moment, my KPI is shifted. Most of my KPI, more than 50%, is more about how to coordinate people, how I understand the project. And if I learned this structured mindset in a hard way, right? Because I get it only in 2016, while I'm starting my job at 2003. Right? So when should we start it? PMI Triangle itself said that when we graduate, or we do our professional work, we have three items that we have in hand: that our technical, leadership, and strategic. What you have right now, the changes given by UII, is basically technical project management. You have your school university degree, yeah. But how to distinguish you with other person? We have a lot of we have a lot of new bachelor graduate from university every year. But how you are distinguished from the other your colleague, for example? Then this credential is one of the answer. It's provided by UEE. It is changed, and you should take it as soon as possible. Yeah. Let's talking about the CIPM and PMP, the benefit itself. Um, for me, I will share later after this. I will share about my experience, how I become a project management practitioner in project management as well as technical, and how to compare it directly with the need in the construction. For the CAPM and PMP eligibility itself, it is separated because CAPM is a very what I say early entry in a credential, while PMP is more an experience. But what the experience mean here? So for PMP, we need a 4-year degree plus 36-month project experience. This means a professional experience where we handle certain person, we manage certain personnel before we can gain the PMP eligibility. However, PMI understand that not everybody is directly have that kind of what I say experience. When you have your entrepreneurship experience, then one of the answer is CAPM. If we see the CAPM only have the prerequisition, mean you have only have a secondary diploma, high school diploma, global or the global equivalent, and you only need 23 contact hour of formal education, which is already provided basically by UEE. Yeah. By having this CAPM, then you have only to do a test around 150 multiple answer question talking about theory, and you have a 3 hour for that test. As soon as you pass the test, you are acknowledged as you have the understanding or you have the basic understanding about project management worldwide, internationally. You are acknowledged internationally. Yeah. And how to later if you the one that I appreciate about this credential is it's not stop there. You have to maintain your professional development. You have to maintain your knowledge by collecting a what we call as professional development unit. I mean, you you read more about project management. You what say you work as a professional in project management. You can gather what we call as a professional development unit, and every 3 years you have to submit and you have to what I say extend your credential. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that if you stop studying, if you stop working, or you basically stuck with your current knowledge, then the credential will be void or will not be extended by the PMI. It will guarantee, for me, it will guarantee, I as an employer, for example, or an expatriate and as a was as an employer, they understand if you still have your credential, that means that you never stop growing. I have an investment with you as a very valuable investment with that always growing, not stuck. Yeah. This will be the same with any other credential or any other credential related to specialists as well, especially in Indonesia. Okay. Then I will compare with the needs in the frankly say for in Indonesia, we also have what we call as LPJK, Lembaga Pengembangan Jasa Konstruksi, we call it. That issue SKA, what we call a certificate keahlian, that determine that what kind of expertise you have, and it will be divided into three. We call it ahli muda, or this is an associate level. Ahli madya, this is for ahli muda is novice. For ahli madya is associate level, and later we have the ahli utama. That's an expert level. If you pay attention to the prerequisition, even for the ahli muda, we have a 3 years experience. 3 years experience means that you cannot in early stage of your career, once you graduate, you still have to collect around 3 years to get this SKA, compared to, for example, CAPM, that basically you can have it after you graduate or before you graduate, yeah, by collecting a 23 contact hour of formal education. Doesn't mean that the CAPM itself doesn't mean that you directly have all the capability to do the project, but you have the acknowledgement that you have the understanding about project management. Even a SKA in project management, it is the example I shared with one from my experience. When I get the ahli muda and ahli madya, the testing is basically based on the PMBOK as well, but it's accommodated or it is modified a bit into Indonesian because CPM and TMP do not have any test in Indonesian, but for SK Ahli Muda they refer to TMP and they what say they train us and we can get the certificate. I learned this in hard way because I get my first certificate in 2009. So compared to 2003, I start my work. I start my career. 2009, I get the Ahli Muda. Later in 2010, I get the Ahli Madya. So basically, I already get my SKA for LPJK in 2010. Then I only get my, this is the note, the blue note, the blue dot is I try to say that in 2016 I got my PMP. So the project management here, I only get it in 2016. So what is different at that moment? Basically, if talking about the workforce, sorry, about the work requirement, as long as you are only want to be an employer, the staff or level of manager without any responsibility about what your specialty is, or not doesn't have any responsibility with the company, but basically only about the calculation. For example, if I want try to be a civil engineer and only pay attention to the calculation, basically I do not need this. I only need my book, I only need my work, then my job, and I just do my job as best as possible. That's all. But when I try to have a broader view, even when my one of my point here in when I get my PMP, the expatriate will more willing to talk to us when we have a certain credential that knowledge in worldwide. When I have my PMP, the expatriate more willing to share. Even I learn more about the risk management. For example, how to do the Monte Carlo, the what I say the basic or the theory about it, and how to manage, how to present. I learned it from one of the Dutch person and a Spanish in my previous project. That's one of the benefits. Again, I have a lot of knowledge, but only when I have my PMP, I know how to structure it, and I know how to do about it. I know how to use it one by one in a structured mindset. Yeah, and I know again what the value and how to increase the value for the organization. Okay. Now, I said that I have already LPJK in Ahli Muda and Ahli Madya. Again, when you say that for in DKI Jakarta itself, when you want to be a supervisor, as you say in the construction management, we also have to have what we call is IPTB, Izin Pelaksana Teknis Bangunan, that issued by the government in Jakarta, usually in from the mayor for its district. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you see all the prerequisition. Later in the in PTB, the prerequisition is only having the recommendation from professional association. Mean that, for example, I already have the SKA or PJK. They acknowledge you as have a credential, then you can have you will be recommended to have that izin permit to perform professionally in DKI Jakarta. So talking about that, how's if you see the benefit when from my point of view, if only I already have my PMP, I already have my CAPM as early as but unfortunately I didn't have it back then. If I already have my CAPM, maybe I can have it earlier all of my current career, I can I can make it faster than my current timeline. Right? Yeah. One of the benefit, for example, if you see the PMP after CIPM, you have PMP at the fourth year. If you compare between the PMP and the SK Alimadya, YAMPI themselves said that if you already have PMP, you can have Alimadya directly without any test, or basically it's the same level. If you already have PMP in the fourth year of your career, compared to Alimadya, we said that as in the third year experience, you can pass forward not pass forward. You can make it faster 2 years for your career if you want to do even go that way. Yeah, but again, for me, this my expect from my point of view, my experience. Yeah, PMP really helped me in getting new knowledge, especially when expatriate that they have a more knowledge or advanced knowledge. I can get more from them to make a broader view of my broader view of my knowledge and how to uh, apply it. Yeah, not only locally but how say that acknowledge internationally. Secondary, yeah, I can make it if I have this is the benefit that I miss in my career because I do not know about it. But all of you, ladies and gentlemen, especially the one that on the fourth year, nearly become a fresh graduate, we give you this opportunity. Yeah, this will be beneficial for all of you. So it will help you to. Doesn't mean that after you have CAPM, then you do not need any other specialist credential. You still, but again, when you have a specialist, you have a broader mind. CAPM will help you in a broader mind. Yeah. Okay. So in conclusion, for me, in conclusion, for my sharing here, you have a CIPM and PMP. You have the chance. You can take it as early as possible. Then from my experience sharing, you know about the what I say about the. This is three of the example of the construction required credential in Indonesia that can be related directly to CIPM or PMP. There you can have a broader way broader opportunity in your career later, because if you only stuck with the specialist, for example, and you do not want to see a broader view, then yeah, basically you will only have a one way until the you pension letter. Yeah, hopefully that can help you share about the CIPM, PMP, as well as the credential in the construction world, and I share it a little bit about my experience. Okay, Mbak Suci, I return it to you.
Okay, thank you a lot, Mas Bronson. I'd like to tell all of the attendees that Mas Bronson is also one of the mentor for CAPM study group provided by Project Management Institute Indonesia chapter. And I'd like to add a bit about what Mas Bronson has delivered, that the 20 hours for the eligibility for CAPM for students, you have had that eligibility or the you have finished that from your project management in your universities, not only from OEE, but also if you have the project management materials, you have finished that 23 hours for CIPM. Okay, thank you so much, Mas Bronson. I've got questions, but all the questions will be answered by the speakers in the end of the third speaker. So we are going to collect the questions first. Kindly reminder that if you have any questions, please use the Q&A button and do not forget to put your name and your institution so we can read on your questions. So we go to the next speakers. This is imported from Saudi Arabia. The second speaker is Mr. Arif Prasetyo. Let me share about his CV, short CV. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So Mr. Arif, or I call him as Arif, he's from Semarang. The bachelor degree is from Undip, and the master degree in business administration from BINUS University. He has 18-year career in 8 different countries in the oil and gas industry. Started his early day as an oil field engineer. He has taken on various management roles from service delivery, training, and operation management. Currently, he works as integration project manager for Schlumberger in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now he is in the Saudi Arabia. While doing his job, he enjoys running and cycling outdoors. And also, he is one of the board or Vice President Communication in Project Management Institute Indonesia chapter. Mas Arif, hello, how are you?
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Bu Suci, for the introduction. Hi, everyone.
Okay. Yeah. Screen is yours, Mas Arif, please.
Okay. So good morning, everybody, the students and the faculty members of the Industrial Engineering International Program of UII. It's my pleasure to be here today. My name is Arif, as introduced earlier by Bu Suci. And in this session, I would like to take you for the next 15-20 minutes into the oil and gas industry. So the first question is, because most of you study industrial engineering, you might be wondering, isn't the oil and gas industry only for petroleum engineers or maybe geologists? Why is the oil and gas industry being talked about this morning? Is there an opportunity for you as industrial engineering graduates? But before I answer that question, let's have a look very quickly about how an oil well, sumur, how an oil well is being constructed. So in the upstream oil and gas business, business hulu, these are the services and activities which take place. I will start on the right side with the colored circles, right? These are your stakeholders. And as Pa Bronson already mentioned in his session earlier, stakeholder management, right? People who are involved in projects. So these are the 3 stakeholders when it comes to well construction. We start with the orange circle. These are the operators. They are the companies who own the field and they sell the oil after it is extracted from the ground. So an example of this is Pertamina, BP, Shell, Total, Medco Energy, Chevron, and so on, right? The second stakeholder are the rig contractors. A rig is the main equipment to drill the well. In Indonesia, we call it kilang pengeboran. So these are the companies who own the rig. Sometimes it is on land, sometimes it is offshore. And these are companies such as Ensco, Transocean, KCA Deutag, and so on. Actually, sometimes big operators, they have their own rig contractor company. Like in Indonesia, we have PT PDSI, which is a drilling contractor under Pertamina. We also have EPI or EPI under Medco. And why they do this is because it will make integration easier. Now, what is integration? We will talk a little bit more about that later. The third and the last stakeholder are the service companies or perusahaan jasa. These are companies who provide specialized services, and they are used and they are involved in every stage of well construction. An example of this is Schlumberger, the company that I'm working for. There is also Halliburton, Baker Hughes, Weatherford, and many other companies. Okay. The majority of the work in well construction, if you look at the left side, which looks like this pizza, the majority of the work is done by service company and rig contractor. If you go today to a drilling site in a location, you will find maybe only 4 people or 5 people from the operator company. They are the client. Yeah? They are there to supervise. They are there to make sure that we deliver or we work very safe and so on. Maybe 4 or 5 people. And the rest of the 100 people at the site, they work for service companies and rig contractors. Okay? So as you can see, if you look in this pizza, look at the slices, right? You can see like cementing, software and communication, logistics and transport. These are not petroleum engineer jobs, okay? These are jobs that is done by people from different disciplines. So looking at this, the business of oil and gas is not strictly limited to petroleum engineers and geologists. So as industrial engineering graduate, you can participate in this business. And I will show you how. So what is the starting point for you, right? Generally, this is the main entrance for you to join the oil and gas industry, to become a field specialist. The one in blue is the job opportunity, right? First is the field specialist or field engineer. This is the most likely or the most common entry point for many people. I myself, I joined the oil industry using this door, using this pathway. I have an electrical engineering background. And when I joined the company the first time, I work alongside with chemical engineers, industrial engineers, mechanical engineers, civil engineers. Why? Because this discipline or this work as a field specialist, it welcomes everybody from the engineering background. Okay. Now, if you remember in that pizza, there was one service called directional drilling. So when I first joined, I joined as a field engineer in that business line, as a directional drilling engineer. The lifestyle that I had is 100% working in the field. Sometimes I go to the office for training. Sometimes I go home to see my family. But 90% of the time, I'm always working in the field. When I first joined, I joined in Mexico, and I was part of a 30-person project team. So there are 30 people in my team, and we deliver our service to the customer, which is the national operator for Mexico, called Pemex. When I joined the company in 2003, I consider myself, I have a lot of project experience because I was active in the student activities in Himpunan or Senat. And if you are an active student, for sure, you are always doing projects, right? Maybe not in structured manner, like what was presented by Pak Bronson, but you are doing projects because you are always managing activities, creating activities, and so on, right? And in the work life, some of those experience was beneficial, right? I start to work in a team. I start about managing resources and how to control quality, how to manage my communication, and so on. Another career path in operations that you can choose is you can choose to become a maintenance engineer or a maintenance technician. Now, many people, when they join the oil business, they feel very proud, especially engineering graduates, right? They feel gengsi to become technician or specialist. But you have to understand, and I'm sure that Pak Bronson will agree with me, that the industry of construction, the industry of oil and gas, we value field technical experience. You cannot become immediately to a manager position. You cannot become immediately to an expert position without getting your hands dirty and spending time and experience working as people in the field or in the workshop, right? So you need to be patient, and this experience will give you a deeper understanding as you build and build your career. Now, in the survey at the beginning of the session, most of you answered that you want to be involved in engineering, manufacturing, construction, and so on, right? Sustaining. Oil and gas industry can also accommodate. In fact, research, engineering, and manufacturing is a big part of the oil and gas business. So if that is your interest, then oil and gas also provides an option for you, an alternative for you, right? And this area of research, engineering, and manufacturing, we welcome bachelor degree graduates, master's degree, PhD, to go and work in our research centers, our production centers, and so on. And there are many opportunities also in the operating companies, in the service companies, even in the rig contractor companies, because most of them have their own R&D department, manufacturing department. Of course, if you join the REM discipline, then your lifestyle will be office lifestyle, right? Maybe sometimes you will go to the field to see the action, to meet the people, but the majority of the time you will be spending in the office, okay? And this line of work, as you can see, it welcomes graduates from many disciplines: industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical, computer science, information system, math, statistics. Everybody's welcome to join this type of discipline. So this is also a good point of entry for you when you enter the oil and gas industry. And similarly, whether you like it or not, whether you are ready or not, you will be thrown into a project team, especially in a production center where you have to produce something. There is a deadline. There is quality check. You will be part of a project team serving a customer, or you will be serving another department within your company. Okay? So let's just quickly go back, right? At the beginning, I told you, you will be part of this big circle, the slice of the pizza. You will choose to become either a cementing engineer, directional drilling, wireline engineer, and so on. And as you become more and more experienced, you will become higher and higher in your position, and you have more responsibility. One day you will become a manager of these projects, right? Sometimes your title maybe is not project manager, but essentially what you are doing is managing a temporary endeavor to bring value, to bring benefit within a specific time frame. Okay? As time goes by, operators start to change the way they work. In the past, operators, what they do is, for every slice of the pizza, they have to make a contract. They have to make a tender. And it's a lot of work, because here you can see there is at least 15 slides of these services. So it's becoming very complicated. It takes a lot of time. And the operators now start moving towards what you see here on the right, okay? The one that is colored in gray, this is the scope of work of the operator. The color in blue is what they give to the service company. Please manage this for me. Please do everything for me. So now more and more, the portion of the work from the operator become less and less. First, they say, okay, we will just do the engineering, we will do the operation supervision, and we will give you the rig, and you do everything else. And then more and more, as time goes by, we arrive even to a model, which I do now in Saudi Arabia. Our project is this type, where our customer just give one price, give me the entire well, satu sumur, one price. It's like in Indonesia, we call it borongan, right? So everything you manage. So you can imagine the complexity of managing a project which involve all of these pizza slices, right? And this illustrates to you how important project management skill is for you, right? So I got my PMP in 2018, it's very recently, and it really helped me to understand what project management is about, especially because now I manage a project where I have to integration of all of these services. Okay, and the PMP is not much different than the CAPM or the CAPM certification. The only difference is the experience. Okay, because you are fresh graduates, you cannot get PMP because you don't have the experience. But the foundation, the knowledge is exactly the same. So you are very lucky because in your university, in UII, they include CAPM as part of the curriculum. You just have to take it and certify yourself, and you will become equipped with foundations of project management, which is going to be very useful for you. Okay, so please, please, please take the certification and take advantage of this privilege, because not many universities do this. Okay, so it's very important. Are you convinced? Probably not yet, right? So let me give you 2 more slides. I will finish very soon. This is a survey I will share with you, which is done by PMI last year. Okay, it's done in Indonesia, and PMI asked all the project management professional. We asked the question, where are you getting your project management certifications from? Because there are many options, right? And as you can see, the result of the survey, the majority of them answered PMI. So PMI is still the #1 institute when it comes to project management certifications. And PMI has 2 project management certifications, which is related to the foundation of project management. One is the CAPM, and the other one is the PMP. And when we ask why did the respondent choose these options, they say that reputation is the most important. 56% answer reputation, followed by price, because if it's very expensive, then of course, some people will not take it. And because of the social media, the respondent also answered that review is important. So the testimony of people who obtained the certification in the past. And the last is the global reach. Is it recognized in the international arena or not? Because maybe one day you want to try to work outside of Indonesia. And you never know, right? You never know that maybe your future company may require it. The left picture there is a snapshot from my company. All project managers, they have to complete all this competency. They have to be competent in all of this area. And if you look at this area, scope management, schedule management, cost, quality, resource, does it look familiar? If you pay attention to Pak Bronson earlier, actually this is exactly the same structure as the PMBOK, right? So we are fully aligned with PMI. And the last table on the right is also a survey which proves that people who have, or project managers who have the PMP certification have 82% higher salary than project managers who don't have the PMP. Of course, this is not the only factor. You also need to show that you deliver good projects and that you are competent. But certainly, based on the survey, the data shows that PMP holders earn more than non-PMP project managers. Okay, so 20 minutes is just up, and I thank you so much for your attention. And if you still have further questions, feel free to connect with me or ask more questions during the Q&A sessions. I'm also available on LinkedIn if you want to chat directly with me. Thank you, Bu Suci, and I'll hand it over back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mas Arif. I think some of students, particularly the first grade, will be very confused. What is it about? But it will be okay. I see some questions again. It will be answered in the end of the third speakers. And now we go to the ice breaking for a while. There is a quiz in terms of project management and the materials delivered by the first and the second speakers. 8 questions. Let me hand it over to Putri for the quiz.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Suci. So may I get the screen for the quiz, please? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let us get some ice breaking for the today's event. You can join the ice breaking by type joinmyquiz.com and insert the join code 534205 or 4. After you enter the room, we can see all of your name here. Please use your name because we will record on the top 3 of the participants in this quiz. All right, several participants has already joined. You can use any device to join the quiz, such your laptop or your handphone. Just simply type joinmyquiz.com and enter the join code 534204. And for additional information, we also have some gift for you who are the top 3 in this quiz. This quiz is about the previous lecture from Mr. Brunson and Mr. Arif. So please take notes carefully and answer the question correctly. We will wait until like 2 minutes. "43 participants over the 140 participants in total. Please join the quiz. We do hope that you don't have any difficulties in joining our ice-breaking session today. Okay. All right, so we will wait until the participant of this quiz reach 70 until 80 participants. So please sign yourself up. Okay, 50 participants. So make sure that you input your name, your real name, because we would like to record the top 3, and we will send you some gift. All right, 3 more participants to 60. Please sign yourself up if you don't already join the quiz. All right, so we have already reached 60 participants. Okay, still many of you join the quiz, please. Okay, so since it is like 10 past 9, okay, it is 10 past 10, so we can start this quiz, please, Mrs. Suchi. Okay, so you will have several questions in the quiz. Please answer the question correctly and quickly, so you will have the highest rank in the leaderboard. We will wait for you to finish the quiz. Please be carefully, but the point also consider how fast you answer the question. Okay, so we have Febri Dharma Kunchoro and Hafiz here for the 3 tricks. And still moving. All right, since you have a good understanding of the lectures that have delivered by Mr. Bronson and Mr. Arif, good job. We will still wait for you to finish the questions. All right, near to end for the quiz. All right, so the first leaderboard is for Rian with the eight correct answer streaks. Still waiting for the others. The second leaderboard already for Fadlan. All right, so there are 3 participants who already finished the questions and the quiz. So we have the top 3 is Rian, Fadlan, and Hafiz. Please chat me to redeem the gift from IPUEE. Thank you. All right, this is the top 3 of the today's quiz. Please chat me to redeem your gift. Thank you very much for your participation in this quiz. Let me pass this session again to Mrs. Suci Miranda. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Putri. So we've got 3 winners for today's quiz. It's only for fun, okay? So for those who have not got any gift, you might join our next webinar. Hopefully, you will be the next winner for the next webinar. Okay, last but not least, we still have the last session for today's webinar. It will be delivered by Mr. Jerry, or aka Bang Jerry. We call him Bang Jerry. Hello, Bang Jerry. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Kak?
I'm good too. Let me share a bit about his CV. So, Jerry M. Samosir, he completed his master's degree from Binus School. He was a seasoned project practitioner with more than 15 years experience in IT, a senior project manager at Nokia. He used to be the head of project management at Aerosystem Indonesia, Garuda Indonesia Group, and currently he's working as a program manager at Cisco System. And he's also the chapter's vice president marketing, Project Management Institute Indonesia chapter. While working, he likes to play soccer and other physical activities, reading and traveling. So not to overdo, let me pass the screen to Bang Jerry. Bang Jerry, the screen is yours, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So let me try to share my screen. Okay, I hope everyone can see. Let me try it from the beginning. Okay, everyone.
Yeah,
I think it's good morning with almost noon. Okay. Thank you for having me. It's an honor for me to have this chance to give you some of my experience on top of the one that already been given by Bang Bronson and Bang Arif. So my name is Jerry Martin Samosir. I'm a program manager as of now, from the customer experience division at Cisco System. As of now, just to give you a little bit background, additional on top of the one that already been shared by Kak Suci. So I'm delivering project cross Asian countries. So as of now, I'm delivering project at one of the biggest operator at Manila. So, but since it is still on COVID-19 pandemic, so I'm still working remotely. So let me start with the challenge on IT world, because I think Bang Bronson already shared to you on details. Yeah, I mean it's not actually on the details that we should have it, but I believe most of you already got the lecture on the project management, so it should be more easier for us to digest this. So on my next slides, you should expect that when we talk about something, we see it from the project management perspective. Yeah. So if you have question, please put it on the Q&A button, so you can we can later on address your questions or your curiosity. So as of now, we have these challenges on the IT world. The first one is the globalization. So as you know that there is no limitation anymore about this. Wherever we are, we can actually do most of our job. So in the IT world, we can actually do some configuration of the, let's say, for the routers, for the internet gateway, right? So we can do it remotely. So by having this globalization, it is translated with the capability on doing work remotely. That's the first thing. Second thing is that there is no limitation anymore on who will do the job. So everyone from every country have the right to do the job. So many, except for the nation state-owned company, which is like BUMN, they still have this administrative requirements to have citizenship. But for all of the other company, especially for the multinational company, this requirement for the citizenship is not required anymore. So it actually opened door for us to work across countries, but it's also giving the chance from people across the world to take over our job, right? So as you can see that lately there is an issue raised by several people saying that a lot of people from China working to Indonesia, so how will be the job for Indonesian people and so on, right? But that's something that, in my opinion, cannot be avoided. Why? Because it is what it is, right? People across the world can do the job. Only physical things that actually limit certain of job, but most of the job can be done remotely, like what we have now, right? This is Bang Arif at the KSA, right? Bang Bronson at Jakarta. I'm from Jakarta also, while most of you maybe reside across Indonesia, right? So this globalization actually will give us challenges. Specifically, if I would like to talk about the job opportunity, right? Or maybe if we talk about the challenges for how we can actually will be interacting with other people, right? This globalization is indeed something that we can avoid it. And just to make you more proud, yeah, I believe that the event which like this webinar with the obligation to deliver in English language, this is my first time to have it there, right? Maybe if I say BINUS itself, right, it's only a certain webinar that need to be delivered in English, but most of the rest will be done in Indonesia. So this globalization actually already been acknowledged by UII. So basically, English is one of the most important, basic requirement that we should have to prepare ourselves on this globalization. The second thing is from the technical perspective, it is the IT services, it is the infrastructure, is the application or software that require complex implementation. As we grow on this world that everyone needs to be simplified, right? You can see that as of now, we can do everything with our phone, right? We can book, rent a car, we can book a hotel, we can book the ticket for our flight and so on, right? It seems like from the end user perspective, it is seamless, right? It is easier. But I believe some of you already been working, right, on the IT world. Perhaps it is we are minority actually on this case, because we have only 60% on the pool area that would like to have it on IT. Perhaps some of it already been working, some of it is about to work on that. Maybe some of you is actually having to measure the IT, right? So it seems like for everyone that actually doesn't know what the complexity reside behind these services, this application, or this easiness to book, right? There are a lot of complex things behind, right? So this complexity need to be managed, right? Need to be managed. Why? Because only by managing it well, we can actually put direction, put progress, like mentioned by Bang Arif earlier and Bang Bronson, that we need to actually manage the so-called project or any kind of task that we are having, so we can do the correct activity, the correct alignment, the correct integration between this infrastructure, between this application, and how to make it resulting the best deliverables or application to the customer, right? To the user. So these things need actually, in my humble opinion, project management. We'll talk about it later, right? So sometimes there's a call that project management is chaos coordination, right? So if there is a guy called project manager is a master of chaos, right? Why? Because actually the project management is all about managing complexity. Maybe the complexity level it is maybe it's low or green or medium or yellow and high or red, but that's the things that we manage, right? So we manage people, we manage the schedule, we manage the cost, right? We manage actually by itself everything, right? So we are actually the person who will be yelled, who will be finger to, right? So that's who actually people who actually are working on this project management, right? Because everyone will be looking at you. And then we have the challenge also for the availability, as this is related also on the point number 1 and number 2, right? So if you can imagine how smooth we can do this through Zoom, right? Or maybe if you have Microsoft Team, we have one, we call it Cisco WebEx, right? Believe me, it's not like the one that we have now. It's easy as just pushing the button. There's a lot of complexity behind it. There's a lot of, hundred of servers, hundred of gigs of storage, right? Maybe 1 tera bandwidth, right? So that's something that probably will not be shown to the people, right? But in the other end, right, the people need the availability, right? We need everyone to be available the soonest, every time, everywhere, right? So this is the challenge on the telco side. Telecommunication company like Indosat, Telkomsel, they are ramping up their network, right? There is 5G on the corner, right? Who actually which actually promise like blazing speed internet connection, right? So this is something that currently being like talk, right? If I may say that, currently is being discussed, and then currently being like one puzzle that need to be solved the soonest by the IT practitioner, including the project management team, right? And then the last one is the cost efficiency. So we would like to have this blazing speed internet connection. We would like to have availability everywhere. We'd like to have like everyone across the world can work on our project. But in the other end, we would like to have the cost efficiency. So these 4 things that, if I may say, is the top challenge from the IT world that can be directly seen on the project, right? So there will be more, right? But from the angle of the project management, I think this is can be seen easily as me as the practitioner on this IT work, right? So let's go to the why actually we need project management in IT, right? So I mentioned earlier a couple of the challenges. So first thing first, right? First thing first, it always start with a project, right? There is no things happen without a project. Even like we are trying to build a house, even we are trying to build a relationship, right? Like people, right? I want to have a relationship, so what should I do? Definitely for a boy, need to meet a girl, right? So, or maybe I would like to build a house. So how to do that? Definitely to buy a land, right? Before that, we need to earn money. Before that, maybe there's a lot of things that need to be planned, right? So there is always be a project to start with, right? So if you are on a company, if you are on an organization, right? We have here actually the structure on how important is a project is, right? This is actually starting with the vision of the company, right? So, and then the mission. I believe most of you should be able to differentiate the vision and the mission. I don't want to discuss it on here. Once we have this, we will have the strategy and objective on the company. This is actually the soul of the company or the organization itself. Like UII, maybe you have like the motto, right? The strategy, the objective of the university itself, right? That strategies, objectives should be translated on what we call the portfolio, right? We have the strategy management, we have the management of the projects, we have the program and the operation. This is something that we will have strategized, right? So if we, let's say UI would like to have this portfolio as the international class. So what is the strategy? Maybe having like a partnership with other university across the world, right? That's something that needed to be strategized and later to be conducted or executed on the project, right? So once we have the portfolio, we will have what we call the authorized programs, right? And project management. I believe you should have already the differentiation of program and project, right? And once we have this conducted well or delivered well with the deliverables that can be operated with the operational management, right? So only by then the value, right? The vision, mission, strategies, portfolio can be translated on day-to-day operation management. So it is always started with a project. Right? There's nothing, in my humble opinion, only God can create something without a project. He just said, okay, boom, done. But for the rest of the things, especially for human being, we always started with a project, right? Even like marriage, right? We have to plan it. We have to like create a project for that. So I was quite maybe it's quite funny because initially we have this poll and then mentioned that 46%, if I'm not wrong, it is not having project yet. But believe me, we all have projects in our lives, hundreds, maybe thousands already. But since we haven't understand the maybe the meaning yet, right? The right understanding, and then secondly, we are not treating it like a project because it is just small things, like we are going to campus from our maybe home or maybe from kontrakan or maybe kos-kosan to the campus, right? That's also a project, right? Because okay, we have 5 routes, which one we will choose based on the condition of maybe it's raining, so you need to choose this path and so on, right? So it is always start with a project. So this is something that actually exists, right? So any kind of IT projects or services, it is always start with a project, right? On the bigger role, maybe there's a portfolio or program. Then this is the set fact of project management. It is conducted by PMI on one of the here, I put note here, the PMI pools of profession. So it is like a pool done by PMI on 2018. It was mentioned that almost 10% of the budget, right, wasted due to project performance. So it is really sad fact that actually I believe in Indonesia that will be way higher, yeah, because we tend to actually we have like a bad behavior on delivering projects, right? Sometimes okay, if it is not on the deadline yet, we will just slow down and then we catch up later with this. Will be resulting like extra working hour or maybe like like rushing to do it, so it will be resulting bad result and so on, right? So can you imagine 10% out of the budget is wasted only because of the poor project performance? In IT world, this is way higher. Why? Because sometimes one of the biggest operator in Indonesia, they are picking wrong technology. They buy it in the budget with 100 million USD, and then they found out that it is not the correct technology that they should pursue in going to the 5G. So they are actually replacing that with one of our product, and then just wasted the 100 million USD. So it's in the IT world, like choosing or picking the one technology that they expect to be like the right one to the future. Sometimes it's just a waste of money. So this is way higher on our world. Yeah. So this is the fact that we need to know why we need project management. Okay, and then tools are just tools. There's a lot of occasion that people think that, oh, you are on the IT guide, you have the software to do that, you have the Microsoft project management, you have the teamwork, and so on. There's a lot of tools that we can use. But believe me, right? The skills not lays on the tools, but it's lays on the head of the people, right? It is the people who will manage the project, the people who do some efficiency, right? Maybe we have robots, we have tools, we have a lot of equipment that we can use to like easiest to lessen the cost and so on. But it will always start with the one, which is the human who thinks how we can do that. So bear in mind that even though you are on the IT world, the most advanced tools, it is just a tools. It is people, it is the person who have the skills, who can actually utilize the tools to make the benefit, specifically on the project management, to make the benefit for the team, to manage the benefit for the management, and then to make the benefit for the customer. Then we have the fact that since we are actually managing the chaos, we are actually managing the people. Project management cannot be automated. There will be not like automation on how we conduct the project, right? Because like what mentioned by Bang Bronson earlier, and then strengthened by Bang Arif, every project is unique, right? Because its uniqueness, I don't know, but I don't see in the future that any kind of like AI, artificial intelligence, can actually combine this uniqueness, right? To get the data and then simulate it, do some assessment on it, and then create result for the the action that need to be done. I don't see it in the future, and many survey prove that project management cannot be automated. So if you would like to have this career and project management, it is a bright future. So as mentioned by, we can start with the CAPM because it is something that you can do as of now, because you have the 23 contact hours per education already been given by UII. It's just a matter of just going to the exam and then hopefully pass it, right? I believe even the exam fee will be paid by the campus itself. So it's really amazing. Can you imagine? I need to put like 20 million rupiahs earlier on 2011 when I have these trainings, and then to put another like 1,000 USD because I actually failed on my first time on the exam. So it actually cost me personally, because I don't want it to be paid by the company, right? While you're still really early stage of your career, you can have this luxury to have the certification. Trust me, if you have this, it's really easy for you. I will tell you later, okay? And then since we actually see the project as a whole, right? We see, as you can see here, maybe I just go back here, right? The vision, mission, the organization strategy, the details that we would like to conduct, and then we have the program and project management on this left-hand side, right? So it is easier for us to see, to identify the risk, because in the end of the day, the biggest risk is when a project, when the portfolio, when the vision mission doesn't meet the goals, right? Let's say we have the project. The goals of the project is to have an application that make easier for the student to, let's say, do the absent, or maybe contact the lecturer, right? The biggest risk is the application itself failed to meet the goals, right? So since we have that, right, it helps us to manage or to identify and then manage the risk, right? So it is something that usually if someone who actually a practitioner in project management will always see. It is actually, we can see it on the negative term, that we can always see the negative things in the positive things. Why? Because we see risk on there. Yeah. So that's the things that I would like to share on this the need for the project management. And then so let's go for the career, right? So as we mentioned, we have the risk, we have the strategy, and so on. So what is the career on this one? Definitely the project management office, where the PM, project coordinator, admin, and PM officer will be on, right? So the project management office or the project management practitioners, that's something that easiest to see, right? That's one of the career. But please be informed that it is just small amount of percentage that you can have in the IT world specifically for these project management skills, right? It is just small percentage. If I may say, it's only 10%. Why? Because we have another one. Yeah, we have the risk management. So as I mentioned earlier, right, since you are seeing the project as a whole, you see the operation on the deliverables later, you see the risk. So you automatically will have the capability on risk management, right? You have the tendency to see what can be wrong on the what can be done perfectly. So you can see, okay, this is something that ideally can be done, but this is the risk. This is the thing that can go bad, right? Because there's a terms in project management that says like this: if it can go wrong, that it will. So if it is even like 1% chance, it can happen, right? Because we are not God. It is something that naturally can happen, right? That's the first thing. Second thing, the second career that you can pursue with project management skills in IT is the audit. As you can, as we talked earlier, right? You see everything, right? You see the process. Audit is about checking whether the process at the SOP that already been adhered by the company is followed or not. So you can see here, okay, then since you know end to end, yeah, how from the beginning, from the vision until the operation, it can be so easy. It will be so easy for you to do the audit, right? Because you see the whole things. Then we have this management strategy. Yeah, we can see the vision, mission. So later on, we see, okay, this part need to be changed, and how we will do that, right? Because we know that from the beginning, that from the vision, mission, and the portfolio of the company, or the strategy of the company, and how later on we can strategize that on the day-to-day activity or maybe project and so on. Then we have this business improvement also, because you see, right? Okay, this is the things that we do. Okay, on the operation side, this is the thing that they are doing. So we can see that the gap. Okay, the operation, the project side, we are expecting that the operation should be doing this because this is the deliverables, this is the SOP that we already prepared for them to do. And then we see that, okay, it's kind of different things that they are doing. So when we see that, okay, we need the improvement, whether it's from the project side before we have the deliverables, or maybe it's on the operation side, because maybe there's the gap on the understanding of what is the deliverables of the project on what already been resulted with the one that operated by the operation team, right? And then we have these services deliveries. This is actually I highlighted from the IT only. So if it is construction there, and then already mentioned by Bang Arif on the oil and gas world, it's way more, right? So on the services delivery, as you know, as mentioned by Arif also, there are a lot of operator actually would like to have like, okay, let me take care about my core business. Let's say for Telkomsel, their core business what? It is just the cellular, right? Okay, so to operate the hardware, to operate the storage, the IT for their day-to-day operation, they don't want to have it. They just, okay, let me outsource it. So these services, right, have also really big opportunity, right? So in Cisco, the services business is actually more than 2 billion USD in terms of the value of the business. So if you see on the even on if you read actually quite frequently for the international news channel, there's a lot of things on there, right? Even Apple, they have this like 10 billion services, okay, per quarter. For us, it is annually, okay. So this is the carrier. So what is the benefit? Because we are talking about the certificate, the CAPM, right? First thing is the personal development. You will be like feeling like, as mentioned by Arif, you feel like, okay, I feel confident now, because we have already at least the basic knowledge that we have, as mentioned by Bang Bronson earlier. We have the basic, the basic knowledge. So personally, you can easily develop yourself, because you have you see, okay, I need to have the weakness on here. You can do that easily because you see that, because this project can be implemented in our day-to-day life, right? Maybe you said, okay, I have issue with schedule management. I cannot control my schedule. I somehow I just miss my timeline and so on, right? You can easily that. You can dig more on that, and there's a lot of like a lot of things that can be done. You can easily go to like LinkedIn, or maybe you can go to the Google and search how to manage time better and so on, right? But see, since you know that this knowledge, you have the basic knowledge, you can easily develop yourself, right? You can, maybe if you are on your on already been working, you can just ask your boss or your line manager saying that I need this this kind of things to be developed on my side. They say, oh, I need to have this like communication skill. You can easily do that, right? Because you have this understanding on the whole things, right? Because you have the basic. Okay. Secondly, you have the recognition. Trust me, when I was starting a project deliverable at Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, right? In my opinion, I was considered as another TKI, Tenaga Kerja Indonesia, in my opinion at that time, because there's no respect at all. There's no respect at all. So it's just like me, like I'm going there because, but indeed, I'm the program manager. I'm handling the overall projects. I mean, there's 2 or 3 projects at the time, right? So, but when they find out, specifically for the customer program manager, he found out that I'm a PMP at the time, like I have also the RMP at the time. Suddenly, somehow, I don't know where it came from, but somehow they just, okay, start talking nicely, and then start asking my opinion about things, about everything, right? About the timeline and so on, right? They are if I may say, they start respecting me at the time. So this is really important, right? CAPM and PMP, right? It is 2, if I may say, it is the 2 most known credential in project management. We have another one actually in Europe, which called Prince2 and so on, right? But when we talk about these American companies, right, and then Asian companies, right, most of them recognize this certification, right? This is actually like a Pandora box that you can open, that you can have. It's just like a magic wand that, okay, this is, I'm going to start. You need to practice definitely, right? Like spelling the wizard and so on, right? But definitely you have the base recognition. right? It is the recognition for like professional relationship, right? It is also the recognition for the salary, right? As I already mentioned by Arif, it is also the recognition, in my opinion, to yourself. Because trust me, passing the exam of CAPM and PMP is quite hard compared to the rest of the certification in project management. And trust me, if you see, if you know another certification, it's as easy as going to the course or the training and then pass it. It's as easy as that. But for the CAPM and PMP, please study hard, right? Because it is quite some challenge on that, specifically because we don't have this our mother language, which is in Bahasa, maybe in my case Bahasa Batak and maybe in Java, right? We have the challenge on the on the language itself, like the first thing. Okay, this is the recognition. And then, as I mentioned, because the career is way broader, because you have this knowledge on the project management. You can be like auditor. I'm also an auditor. I have the certification from ISACA, the CISA. You can be like the risk management. You can also like business improvement and so on. Already mentioned earlier. So you have broader career paths by having the knowledge for this project management. And as per my understanding, almost 99% of the CEO, the CFO, the CTO in any company in Indonesia and across the world already been a project manager, at least in one project, because it's actually the simulation on rolling out the on governing the company, because we have small amount of the people from the company to govern on this project, right? Usually in Garuda, as because I was working for Garuda subsidiaries company, the 100% of the board of director were project managers. They are usually, before they're having this title as the CEO or something, they need to at least conduct or run a project or a program, at least. So it's like an opportunity for us to go way on the top, right? It is also the chance for you to get the networking, as I mentioned, because you have this LinkedIn. If you put yourself CAPM or PMP, usually right after that, maybe on the next, I don't know, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, there is a lot of requests for you to connect. Why? Because these two certification or credential is quite well known, right? And then people love to have this connection, because I need to tell this, but on my last two jobs, I even don't know who actually refer me, right? Because I don't know, but somehow the human resource mentioned that someone actually recommending me. But that's the beauty of this networking, right? You don't need to apply. You just been called, and then, would you like to join Cisco? Would you like to join Nokia? Someone actually recommended you, and then just that, right? I just need like 5 minutes interview with Cisco, and then about 20 minutes interview with Nokia initially. So it's as easy as that to have this certification. Okay, so that will be all from my side. I think I'm gonna hand it over to you, Kak Suci. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Bang Jerry, full of power. I can feel the spirit of joining the certification and so on. But this is the most important thing, because we've got some questions on the Q&A button. I'm going to read some. The first, no name. Hopefully you've put your name, but this is for Mas Bronson. If you don't mind, the speakers, would you please turn on your video? So, okay. Mr. Bronson, Pa Bronson, I'd like to ask a few questions. How much the CAPM is recognized in the real world industry compared to PMP? That's the first question. You want to answer directly, or I have to read all first? It's from
Directly
one.
because this is a short answer. Basically,
Okay.
the same
Okay.
recognition for both CIPM and PMP. The difference only about the level of experience, like shown before, and I think emphasized by my Asarif, that CIPM is for entry level. So for PAP, at least need 4 years of experience. Then, if you have CIPM, although you in 10 years of your career, then the recognition still about that you are in entry level. So as soon as you have the qualification, you better directly get the PMP credential. That's Mbak Suci.
Okay. The second one, still from the same person. What are the difference between credential expiry 3 years and maintenance? So we have to maintain the credential by earning PDUs as well as taking the exam again.
Okay. Basically, for the maintenance, mean we have to always start learning and studying more. So we collect our PDU. Then at the third year, we can extend our credential without taking another exam. We only propose it to we not directly propose it at the end of the third year, but gradually. For every year or for every time you gain the PDU, just report it to the PMP as PMI. At the end of third year, we see if you all collect the enough PDU, then the credential will be extended. So no need to exam, and only when you fail to collect the PDU, then your credential will be suspended, then will be voided or let's say expire. That's what it is.
Clear enough, I think. Okay, the third one, the PMI has ACP PMI for Agile Project Management equivalent to PMP. Is there any Agile certification equivalent to CPM? Experience less than 3 years?
As far as I know, in PMI, no, but I think I need Bang Jerry help here to for the IT certification that in a broader view rather than only the PMI. Bang Jerry, can you help me in the third question, Bang Jerry?
Yeah, okay. So PMI ACP actually, if I say equivalent, it's not equivalent because it's PMP. So it's like a black box that can contain everything, right? It's the framework for all of kind of development, right? But there is like one current trending which is agile, right? So PMI also would like to adopt that, but bear in mind that PMI ACP is the rest of the guy, because PMI ACP will be like having these, like they have like flavors on the agile, right? Having these flavors on the certification. When we talk about the certification, the equivalent to the CPM, that doesn't necessarily equivalent then, right? So it's the entry level for the agile for the CIPM. I believe we have the PSM1, I believe, in the agile world. So it's you can look at it on the Google, really easy. But that actually I'm not so sure it is who actually have this certification, issue this certification. But most of the people I see that PSM, Professional Scrum Master, that's we can start with. This is one of the flavor. So Scrum is only one of the flavor of the agile. They have also like XP and so on, right? So yeah, that will be the answer on this.
Okay, thank you. For the next questions, this is from Muhammad Arif Nur Rahman, PT Mora Telematika Indonesia. I'm not sure. This is for Pak Bronson again. I ever joined webinar several times, either on projectmanagement.com or pmiindonesia.org to add my PDU and contact hours. If in Indonesia chapter, I always get the result in the form of a certificate of attendance, but I never found where I can see the proof of on projectmanagement.com. Okay.
Okay. To Pak Muhammad Arif, I may not be in detail in projectmanagement.com because in every webinar or seminar or early study, you cannot expect everybody will always receive a certificate for the training. But what I can share that when you try to try to propose the PDU to the PMI, always make sure that you understand what you learn. Then you can copy the URL, for example, from the project management, the URL to be included in your proposal to the PMI. that's the point. And PMI, fair enough, they can accept like that. For example, I one my experience that I only study how to make the normal distribution curve in Excel based on certain what's say URL or site that saying that this is the step. I propose it to the PMI as technical in project management. I gain 1 PDU, Pak. I do not have any e-certificate or certificate from that site, only the URL, and I explain what I learned from this site. Only by studying how to create a normal distribution curve in Excel. For example, like that. I hope that can answer. Yeah, back to Bu Suci.
Okay. The next from Mr. Jodri Ardo Ramadan. He's from Sekolah Tinggi Teknologi Pelalawan. It is from Pekanbaru. I want to ask about, we have a lot of resources and we also have a big risk of using this resource. How do we manage a project in the area? What a step and point we have to do? It is for Mr. Bronson again.
Okay, this is actually emphasize our understanding of what we share from me, Pak Arif, and Pak Jerry. When we facing a project, that's the kind of question our fresh graduates ask. What shall I do? What shall I do? Yeah. But then from the first fundamental, when we share about the 10 knowledge area, integration, scope, unto the stakeholder, then you can have a kind of checklist, Pak, about what to do with your resource and the risk about this resource. For the scope, for example, why you should use your resource, what work what I want to accomplish, then the schedule, when I want to accomplish this work, for example, and how many resources I can use. This become a justification for resource, and so, and every knowledge area have this kind of question that support you with your project. Try to find that. And talking about risk itself, then after you have all the planning, you can ask your question in the knowledge area of risk. The first question of the fundamental is what can go wrong, Pak, and what can go right. With that both fundamental, you can start talking about risk in your project. So that 10 knowledge area become the fundamental of your how you run your project. In each knowledge area, then you have a step process that CIPM and PMP offer how to do each knowledge area. I cannot share it directly right here because it will take all the time. But at least the fundamental you can start. Then you can see in the CAPM and the PMBOK, you see each of the steps for each knowledge area. I hope that can help Jazzy, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The next one, it can be answered by any speakers, I think. From the Via Mazia. Hi, I want to ask if I want to apply for PMP, is the working experience required for qualification has to be a leader or manager level, of if in the level of staff of officer like PMO, project management engineer, and etc. can still apply for PMP? Mas Arif, probably, would you mind to answer it?
Yes, sure. So like we mentioned earlier, I think everybody who is involved in projects, they don't necessarily have the title project manager. And sometimes it's because there is already a project manager in the team, or sometimes maybe the company calls it with another job title. So the short answer is no, you don't have to have project manager title in your experience, but you do have to demonstrate that you participate or lead a portion of the work and treat it as a project. And when you apply for the PMP eligibility, you have to explain what exactly did you do, and then PMI will evaluate to see if your contribution is significant enough. And most of the time, actually, like for me myself, I didn't, when I submitted for the PMP, my first, I think, 2 years that I submitted was not in the title of project manager, and they still accepted.
Yeah. If I can add also, like for me as a lecturer, we can also apply for PMP if we run a project. I mean, some of my colleagues have got the PMP even though they are lecturers. So as long as we can fulfill the requirements, I think just like that is our for adding the answers. Okay, the next one is from Fadlan Wisa Hasibuan. When we take the certification, is there any specific field we learn or we will learn whole fields such as construction, mining, etc.? This is for Mr. Bronson.
Okay, thank you, Bu Cici and Pak Fadlan. Basically, it's vice versa, Pak. Yeah, we do not have to say that we have to be in specific field before we study the project management, but now we are equipped ourselves with the project management knowledge, basic, at least for the basic in CAPM. Then when we come to any field, for example, if you choose oil and gas like Pak Arif, or you come to construction like me, or to Pak Bang Jerry in the IT, or even maybe you in a health or hospitality in a hospital or manufacturing, then you have equipped a structured mindset talking about the project that can be happen in each of that field, Pak Fadlan. So no, but it can help you if you have a certain understanding about a certain field, then you want to study about CPM. It can help you as an example, but it's not necessarily that you have to have in one specific field before you come to the project management or CPM credential. But if you vice versa, you have the knowledge. Then when you are ready, when you come to each that field to do your to become a professional there. Yeah, Bu Cici, Pak Fadlan.
Any additional answers from Bang Jerry or Mas Arif for the field?
Yeah, so maybe I just want to add that the PMBOK is like a framework, right? It consists a lot of things that it's just like an arsenal, right? It's a weapon, gun, warehouse that it is like there, and then you will pick up the one that you need when go to the battle, right? It's just if I may consider like project is a battle, so there is no specific thing that we require on the construction, mining, or anything. But since there is actually a tendency, actually the PMBK based on this construction. Why? Because it was initially actually developed by the people on the background of construction. It is why it's as if it is just for the construction, but no, it is applicable for every kind of project, right? Except the one that actually been trending now, it is agile. It's quite different mindset on this, but we have still like what we call the waterfall, the principle for delivering software project initially, right? So yeah, that will be just adding the answer from Bronson.
Okay. The next question is from Gito Zugdi. He's still in the first grade of the university. He asked, I have little known what's CAPM and PMP, who has explained by Mr. Bronson, it's certificates which give evidence that we afford to manage project effectively by our experience. Honestly, I get my interest to be as a project manager. Wow, okay. As a first semester student, I have really mixed up as a regard what I supposed to do. I means to get easier to achieve our goals. Okay. Any of you speakers? Yes, please.
Okay, because my name there is there. I think I try to explain a bit about what I said, that it doesn't mean it suddenly saying the credential itself doesn't mean that suddenly it tell that when you are fresh graduate suddenly you have all the experience to do all the project. No, it doesn't say like that. Still need extra step like Pak Arif mentioned earlier. You still have to have your hand dirty to have all the experience. But you're in the first semester now in the college. You gain all the knowledge, all the information. When you have that credential, it helps. It becomes an evidence that you have the understanding about that knowledge, the extra understanding about that knowledge that align or comply with the international recognition of acknowledgement rather than only based on college. That's what I said as a distinguisher, yeah, Pak. So yeah, I think that's my answer about that. So what you should do right now, yes, gain as much as knowledge you can, or get much experience through internship, along that having fun with your study year. When you come to the when you become a fresh graduate, all the challenge become real there. Yeah, thank you, Bu
Yes,
Cici.
indeed. Okay. Any more answers from Mas Arif, Bang Jerry, for the first? I believe there are some first grade students who joined our session today.
Hmm.
Is it now? Well,
Bang Arif, I think you should add now.
Nothing else to add from my side. I think it's answered perfectly already by Mas
okay.
Bronson.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Gain lots of experience and knowledge, as Mas Bronson said. Okay. The next question, it's quite long, from MF Makmur, IT infrastructure company. Okay. How to complete a problematic application development project from start. With the problem, as project manager, I can't measure the time it will take to complete the project, do not get the overall task, so that the project work estimate is undefined. The task given is a feature, not requirement. I approach a client to be able to derive clear and unchanging requirements, but every time I ask for this, the client asks for is a resource reduction. If the project financially can help the company financially and progress, and it must be taken with a heavy weight. It's kind of curhat session, probably. So, yeah. Mr. MF Makmur, he asked how to complete a problematic application, such as I read before as project manager. Can't measure the time, do not get your real task, the given task given feature not as a requirement, and so on and so forth. Yes, Liz, any, he doesn't mention for any specific speakers, Mas Bronson or Mas Arif, Bang Jerry?
I think
I think
may I ask Bang Jerry to answer this, because this is really an adaptive or agile mindset or point of view.
Yeah.
So Bang Jerry maybe
Yeah.
can explain it in more detail rather than me, or
yeah.
I'm fundamental, but in detail Pak Jerry.
Yeah, so this is actually the answer why PMI released the PMI ACP, right? So the definition of the project itself cannot be like a waterfall project. It is adaptive one, which is when the client actually doesn't know what he wants, right? And then they don't have this requirement clearly defined, right? That's why we have this agile approach. The intention of agile approach is the time or the condition when actually the provider and the customer is actually learning each other. It gives us the chance to the customer itself can actually get their understanding more and more during the project. On the other side, the provider, which is us as the contractor, understand more also how to deliver that. So this is what actually why agile is so booming as of now, right? It is actually have that. But please bear in mind that in agile world there is two things that cannot be changed. It is the timeline, which is okay, we will do the project on 6 months, maybe, or 1 year, or maybe 3 years with small iteration. Second thing is the budget. So you can change the scope easily. I want this to be changed, I want this to be changed, but please note, you can tell the customer that we will finish this project in 6 months. So if you change your mind a lot, right, then maybe in 6 months you got nothing because you still haven't made your mind. So this is the beauty of agile. So instead of like giving everything to the contractor, it will also giving the push to the customer to understand what they want. There's also a room for error in agile. Yeah, definitely they are asking make mistake the earliest as possible. So this mindset actually been acknowledged by PMI. That's why we will be doing this on Agile. So to answer your long story short, to answer your question, Pak Makmur, do it on Agile because this definition actually define Agile. So you need to do it Agile. If you want us to do it on the waterfall, which is on the PMBOK, trust me. First, you will be like wasting money, wasting time, wasting also perasaan, because you will face this customer that they don't understand what they are want. It's really hard to answer that I want this. What do you want? I don't know. So how you deliver project that you don't know, right? So it will start like prototyping on the Agile. It has the room to do prototyping, to do the mock-up first, and then do the work later, right? So that will be my answer to you. Hopefully that can actually answer your questions easily. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to ask a project to Mr. Makmur. If we can't answer all the questions, you might go directly to the speakers after this webinar.
Yep.
Through the email. I believe Bang Jerry and other speakers are really happy to answer your questions. Sorry for that. Okay. And the next one is from Mr. Taufik Eko. He asked 3 questions. The first, how do you deal with scope change in the middle of the project? Okay, scope creep. Especially in customer project, when a customer does not really know the requirement in detail at the start of the project, or when the contract is being created and then learn about the details as the project runs. Okay, any of speakers, please? Dealing with scope change in the middle.
I can take this one first, maybe from my experience. Scope change can be a good thing and can be a bad thing, right? Scope change can mean that you will actually get more revenue, more money, because they are giving us an additional scope. So that's the good side of scope change. There is also a bad side of a scope change, which is what Ibu Suci mentioned, which is a scope creep. A scope creep is when the customer keep asking more. And in my projects, because I work lump sum, they pay only one price. This happen every day, right? So it will start with a simple call, you know, instead of next week, can you complete it this week? Can you add this extra? Can you bring me a product with slightly better specification? So this kind of request, this will come at your cost. And the only way to do it is to refuse politely, right? There is no other way. If you are working a lump sum project, if you are working with a fixed price contract, then any additional specification that you give outside of the scope will come at your cost, and it's not the right way to accept it. The good way to accept it would be to propose, yes, we can do this at this impact. This is the cost impact, this is the schedule impact, and we can take it from there. About the second part of the question, which is what if the requirement is not known in detail and the contract is being created? In big projects, construction especially, and in oil and gas, change also happen quite often, but the way that we deal with change is very rigid. Yeah, you cannot meet in a meeting room and then decide to do something and suddenly change a design. So whenever the change happens, we need to find out who is the owner of this scope. If it goes to the technical domain, then the proposal needs to be approved through a change management protocol so that everybody understand and agree that we will do this change. And then it can be implemented, right? Whether it's change in the scope, whether it's in the price or in the technical designs.
Yep. Okay, so still have a good and bad side. Yeah. Okay then. And the next one, we are running out of time. Probably we can answer one more questions. And for the rest of the questions, we are going to deliver the answers, the questions to the speakers, and then the answer will be sent to you by email if you don't mind. Okay, the last one is Muhammad Iqbal Maulana. As explained by Mr. Jerry, a COO or CEO at least had run a project. However, as we know in Indonesia, in a state-owned enterprises, a commissioner is sometimes elected by a political process. It's hard questions, which causes limited engagement of stakeholders. My question is whether SOE is still relevant for Indonesia. I want to know from a panelist perspective because it is from private sector. Probably Mr. Muhammad Iqbal is running a private company. Yes, please. Any speaker?
So
can you clarify what it's meant by SOE? I'm not familiar with the abbreviation.
I'm not either. Mr. Iqbal, would you mind to type the SOE? Or probably if we...
But I think to answer, right, I think the main question is what if the CEO or the COO or basically the leader of the organization does not engage because it is chosen by somebody from outside the organization, right? And you know, in my experience, state-owned enterprise, okay, is still relevant for Indonesia. Okay. So thank you, Mas Bagus. And I think we cannot choose our bosses. Yeah, so whether the project sponsor is somebody who is elected by the board of directors or by the shareholders, whether it's somebody appointed by the government, I think it does not matter who the person is and where they are coming from. What is important as a project manager is we understand what is his driver, what is his interest, and we need to align to his interest, and that's the only way that we can manage the projects and fulfill the requirements. I don't know if anybody else, Mas Bronson or Bang Jerry, want to add.
Any more additional?
Adding to Pak Mas Arif, as from me, if we question about the SOE is relevant for Indonesia or no, in the end, you will meet that you will meet the owner of your enterprise or organization is out of your expectation. I mean, you can meet someone that running the family company that do not have any political, but always go from generation to generation, which means you almost have no career path there, for example. Or in BUMN, you say that based on political at the top, but in the peer you have the echelon 1, 4 to echelon 1. Or in the in the other company, you meet the company the already terbuka or the already engaged in PO. So we'll have that kind of, as long as you have that mindset, back to our fundamental, that as long as you have the mindset as a structurer, if you remember what we consider one of the knowledge area is stakeholder, then you can use that knowledge how to maintain or how to behave in accordance to that kind of knowledge area. In the stakeholder, you even have to do how to how to identify your stakeholder, how to categorize your stakeholder. So after that, you know how to behave to each of the stakeholder, and based on what you are expecting from them, and based on what you're expecting from yourself, you can plan what to do to all of them. So relevant or no, it will depend on it will be no it will be depend on the condition, but as long as you are equipped with the knowledge, you know how to behave, even some of then you will okay, I think. So not necessarily ask the SOE is relevant or no. Yeah, but we check. If it is additional from me, so you can go anywhere, everywhere you want, as long as you equip with the knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. And again, you may ask more questions directly through email to the three speakers outside of this webinar because we are running out of time. So that will be our last questions to be answered. I'm really sorry for that. Again, for other questions will be answered by the speakers and send the answer to the email. The last one, I'd like to get the conclusion or any closing speech from each speakers, particularly for students who want to join the certification exam, CAPM. Yeah, Mas Bronson first, please.
Okay. Thank you, Mbak Cici, for that. I just want to conclude for everyone a bit, or just sharing that. Please, you have the chances right now. You have the opportunity right now that offered to you by the UE, especially for everybody. Maybe not yet, but try to find the opportunity. But right now, the one that have the opportunity, try to snatch it as early as possible, because the benefit will be very, very beneficial for you. I learned it from the hard way. Don't follow my path. If you can get it from as early as possible, try to get it. And you will prove it later. Yeah. Thank you, Mbak Suci.
Thank you, Mas Bronson. Next, Mas Arif, please.
Yeah, I think as a student and as the final years and you are about to graduate, this is the best time to make mistakes. You cannot make mistakes if you don't try things. Yeah? You can fail exams, no consequences. You can make mistakes, no consequences. The moment you enter the workplace, it's a different story. So please take advantage of the time you are in the campus. Take these certifications, network with your friends, and learn to manage project in your personal life and also in your campus life. And respect your teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arif. Okay, last but not least, Bang Jerry, please.
Yeah. So I did also the same mistake. So at the time, I'm from USU, Medan. So it was a hard time for me when I traveled to Jakarta. Can you imagine when I apply in one company, they ask, what is USU? Where is USU, right? But I have at the time one of the certification that acknowledged by the world. It is the certification of Cisco. They call it Cisco Networking Academy program. So it's not a certificate anyway. It's like a completion of a course. So, but I can use that actually that time to get a job. Yeah, it takes me 2 months at Jakarta, almost spending all of my money. You can imagine I go to Jakarta with a small amount of money. So don't do that mistake. So even though you are on the Java land as of now, right? But the word, as I mentioned, globalization. So we need to prepare ourselves. Trust me, on the project management world, the people from India and China will be coming to Indonesia. They have this certification obligated by the campus already. It is obligated by the campus. It is part of their certificate that they need to get their ijazah. Yeah. So as of now, you got the chance to get the CIPM, but don't just CIPM. Any kind of certification that acknowledged by acknowledged by the world. Yeah. I mean, internationally, you get it. Okay. And as Bang Arif mentioned, not just respect the teachers, but respect the older people than you and respect yourself, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much for all things you've delivered to us. I really appreciate as also lecturers teaching project management is not something easy because most of students think it's not part of the what they think they want to learn, or maybe they still don't know what is project management. I do hope that all of the attendees, most specifically the students, now got the more insight of what project management is, the career, and also the certification, particularly CAPM from PMI. Okay, we cannot. Let's have a big applause for all the speakers. Thank you, Bang Jerry, Mas Bronson, and Mas Arif. And hopefully you are always in a very good condition wherever you are. Okay, the last from me. So project is conducted by human, this said by Bang Jerry. It cannot be automated, so we have to enhance and leverage our skills, not only for ourselves but also for our future, for our career. And CAPM for the student is the first step you can do, because you've got the project management materials within your university materials, and it has completed 23 hours eligibility. So it is really achievable for you to join this APM certification after you finish the project management materials. That's all from me. Thank you so much. If I have something, any mistake, I'd like to ask apologies to all of you and all the speakers. Thank you. I'm signing out. Back to Putri. Thank you, everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mrs. Suci, for accompanying us during this session. And greatest thanks to Mr. Branson, Mr. Arif, and Mr. Jerry for the insightful lecture and experience shared in scope of construction, oil and gas, and also IT world. And for your information to all the participants, let me share my screen first. Okay, so this general lecture is held by the International Program Department of Industrial Engineering, Industrial Department in Universitas Islam Indonesia. So please find us at our website and our Instagram at international_IEUII. So you will get the latest news from us and also for the upcoming events. And also please provide your feedback for today's event by bit.ly/feedback pro-MAN-GAS lecture. Please take notes of the link. I will share the link in the Zoom chat later on. And also, I would welcome you to our upcoming event, Machine Learning for Biological Data Mining. This Studium Generale 2 will be held on the 21st of November 2020, and the speakers is from Prof. Anirban Mukhopadhyay, is the machine learning for biological data mining, and the second speaker is Mr. Winda Nurcahyo for the social media data mining. For the registration, you can scan the barcode, and we will share this information for you later on. And for the information about CAPM certification that we have discussed in this event, please contact Mrs. Suci Miranda as the lecturer of Universitas Islam Indonesia and the branch director of PMI Indonesia chapter Yogyakarta branch. Okay, you can contact Mrs. Suci to suci.miranda@uii.ac.id or smiranda@pmi-indonesia.org. So for the feedback link, we will send you through Zoom chat, so you can click on it. Okay, please fill the feedback form to have the certificate of today's lecture. All right, I think that's all from me as the Master of Ceremony on this event. I would like to apologize if there are some mistakes during the event, and thank you for the guest lecturers for the amazing sessions. Thank you for all participants who has actually collaborated today. Thank you for joining us in our event, Project Management General Lecture. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you and have a good day, everyone.